such as rebuilding their homes, repairing damage, and the like. And so we need
I can't believe I look this good after not sleeping at all. Oh yeah, I've been through hell, man, emotionally in the last couple of weeks. Just while they're smoking the cigarettes and stuff, you just go, yeah, old cunt. Anyways, news flash, Brian Buchanan, we're all gonna pass on or pass away. It's the Titanic, so I don't think you really have much time to meet somebody else unless you actually never wanted to marry me. I mean, then you would go, what is this? I know that's the most terrible part of it too, because I sent a picture of the sky and then the thing about the nuclear weapons. It's like, did he all of a sudden go, I have to go find some lost love or something? I know you just go, oh God, I'm sure that's not going to go over well, but dramatic people. Like they're living in a film. I wouldn't really suggest doing that. Yeah, myself, I wouldn't suggest doing that. I guess I might have enough soda for another. It's 4 o'clock already. Today's going by so fast. Speaking of cigarettes, probably have one of those too.
Incredibly concerned, and misinformation, I should say it's disinformation, false information deliberately spread to impact people's behavior and perceptions, it is extremely pernicious. We have individuals in need of assistance or entitled to assistance who aren't seeking it because of the false information. Well, I'll tell you what we need. We need individuals, elected officials.
Honestly, knowing Brian Buchanan, right? You go, he's probably sitting on the ground playing with himself, doing it purposely, going like he's punishing me. And you go, Brian, yeah, that's not cool at all. I know you have like some things where you're wicked immature and you don't like you've never been in an adult relationship before. Like, talk about killing me, Smalls. That's why it's kind of strange. Yeah, like he reminds me a little bit of Scott, my nephew, because he's scared and he wants to come back. It's like, we're not going to be staying here. We're going to Florida. But I understand it, right? You go. I tried to explain it to him, but it's kind of, I guess, both of our faults, because obviously the guilt comes where you're like, if I just left it alone, would he have flipped out like that? But say it's like this, Brian. If you literally need to go to a hospital, I have to, there has to be some line drawn, because you could die. Right. It's like, I'm new to this, and it's kind of like this. You don't want to do anything, even though sometimes you get angry, you don't want to do anything that makes it seem like I have to be like removed as your emergency contact or something. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm sure in the past you've probably tried to have Yahoos be your emergency contact. I'm sure. Right. I've seen people with mania doing that stuff with their druggy friends, and you keep switching it and stuff. It's just right, because it wasn't that much time, but you go, eventually that's going to be addressed with your mental health team. And I'm sure you know that I have a big, huge mouth, so you know I'm going to tell people. It's just your way of doing things when you're not able to do it. Okay, so right, you made the agreement about the pot, and then I was going to stick to it. It's not even really kind of about that. Right, because of the way that you were talking to me, and honestly, I think it was probably something was going on with you, and it was like a slow build, probably from way too much pot. And then, like I said, we discussed this, by the way, just so people know, we discussed this. Sometimes people have to know your personal business, Brian, when you don't agree to get in the ambulance and call me. Okay. I hope we get to a point where I don't have to do that. And then it'll be a video, not a live stream to the planet, like I discussed, where you have to be with me in the video. Yes. Okay, because I don't want to scare you. It doesn't mean it's going to happen to you, but I met Barbara Kent. Okay, so if you didn't know, you have to make plans like that, I'm explaining it. So if a doctor says you have something where you forget your diagnosis, or you go into a thing and you have to be calmed down, or you're having like something that's progressive like that, okay, I don't know. That's why I want you to be seen. I haven't heard anything like that in any of the diagnosis you told me you had. I know the woman said she was going to screen you for bipolar. Okay. Um, that's their job. I don't think he meant to be that mean to me. I explained it like this doesn't have anything to do with needing to go to the hospital. This part of it. I think smoking that much marijuana in like a week and a half probably scared you too. You thought that was going to last you 4 weeks. It's just like the alcohol. And if Brian thinks back after the wedding, he started doing that with vapes too. He started using more and more of it. It's just like the alcohol. Okay, so I don't think you should get freaked out about it. No, people do that with cocaine, everything. You ever watch Intervention? That's why it's complete abstinence. Yeah, don't get scared because you go, oh my God, and now everything I do. It's not everything you do because I've never seen you eating excessively or walking around excessively or bodybuilding excessively or drawing and just like you're like this. It's not the end of the world. Like if you were starting to get scared, some of that's probably just jacked up on too much stuff. We already discussed about the energy drinks and he was cutting down and it's probably going to get down to nothing. I hope after this because those things destroy men's bodies and their hormones. Yeah, those energy drinks. So it might be something if he gets diagnosed with mania, he can't have caffeine. I hope he knows that. He has to eat breakfast, which yeah, he usually does, but you know what? I think he's been like he's a little bit spoiled, yeah. And maybe I wasn't. We had to throw donuts away. I've cooked him eggs. I made a couple of those doughs. He's had meatballs and spaghetti, like actual real food. He's had beef several times. He's had chicken. I made him a chocolate cake. Oh yeah, I've made him pudding twice. Does he look like he's put on weight? I was wondering that. I think he was a little bit heavier this time, wasn't he? Because I thought about this. He did look thinner when he came out of Gavin, especially in the face. It almost seemed like he lost weight at Gavin. It was just the way he was dressed. This is like the most horrifying nightmare in my life, but I have to think about it like this. Right. If he was going to cheat anyway, yeah, you just go. But of course, this is going to happen when he's all cleaned up like that. And you go, really? You could destroy a man's marriage because you don't know anything about him. And then in a week, you're going to go, yeah, let's go to Hancock Liquor. Okay. Because that is exactly what happened to that Sean guy. Right, that's what's not good about him being completely pristine, clean, and all trimmed up like that with his glasses. Right, because it's like you just don't understand. And then that guy, I think, ended up feeling terrible about it, and he should, even though he's weird too. Not weird too, because Brian's nothing like that guy. Even though he's a weirdo, I think it freaked him out. Yeah, like clearly, dude, that's why I was mean to you. That's why I had the phone and I answered it. Okay. That's why it's my phone calling. Okay. Now he's got his own phone and my phone. And then I have my other phone. So, right, because he won't. He absolutely won't. He has to be back with his wife. That's why he probably said something about bringing him clothes and blankets because I put the blankets down on the floor here to sleep. He has to be back with his wife. So I don't know what is going on. Yeah, because I'm sure you have drunks that sort of like begin to party and then they slowly taper off, except for probably that John guy and Donnie, from what I can gather. Okay. He's not a person to party with. He gets extremely sick. Yes, you could kill the person, and you don't want to see that happening. It's like a compulsion once he starts drinking, and it's all the time, all day, all night, and he vomits and vomits and vomits every morning, and he has to go right to the thing, and it gets like more and more. Like he was displaying a little bit of that with the pot. So yeah, when he started doing increasing amounts, I was like, oh my god, yeah. So that's definitely something, especially if he's not really. He may or not. I don't know if he's doing it on purpose. Some things he says he does do on purpose in terms of what he's telling his provider. I don't even think this is possible. This is possible, but there's been nothing since 8:30 unless he woke up and his phone was dead and he went right to the appointment because he was late, and then they cut off his Adderall. If that happened, he's probably flying around the state of Massachusetts in a rage, right? That would be a reason not to call me yet. How many days would you be in a rage like that? He knew it was coming. It's not vengeful. He knows it's not vengeful. It has nothing to do with them taking off because he knew it was coming. He probably knows. Yeah, that's why he's telling me things because he knows that I talk to my therapist. Right? He just knows. He knows me. Even with the pot, he would probably expect me to start cracking down on that because I was supposed to. That's why we go every week. He can't even whatever he has. He's just gonna keep smoking it and smoking it and smoking it and smoking it, drinking it and drinking it. Drink. That's what I'm saying. So please don't just go call your wife, Mary. If you don't know my name, go call your wife. Like we don't want to be mean, dude. Like because he can get mean. What it is he's desperate. He's really a really beautiful man. It's just when he's like that, and if he can't, he'll ask you for $1. And like him joking around and stuff, that's his real personality. But if you don't give it to him, just like those text messages, because he's desperate and he gets like mad, whether he's like afraid or sad or something. Like you try to just keep screaming, 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 because you're like you feel like helpless or whatever, right? Yeah. So I really don't want him to be in that state because it's not good for him. My brother did that for years, and then his aorta burst open. I found him dead in the bathroom floor, just from the stress of doing that every day, screaming and screaming and screaming and screaming and screaming at his mother. No, Brian isn't doing anything like that. Even this little bout like that was not like long. It didn't go on for a long time, and then he immediately, because someone else came, he usually, if he gets snippy, I will walk away from him, or he will walk away, or he just stops. There was one, I can't even remember what he said, but I just go, you need to take your medication and go to bed, because it was like time for bed anyway. Yeah, and he did it. Probably he knows, right? Yeah. He can't be in a shelter sitting in a chair all night. I see why he it's both things though, because he doesn't even take his medication when he's drinking. Yeah, just because when he has to go to sleep, it's part of his mental health. He has to be able to sleep at night. I walked over to the I know it's terrible. I have to stop this because I'm not even doing rollies now. I've already spent like $40 on cigarettes. It's awful. I know. It's just this is what happened to me when I relapsed from that downtown crossing thing. Yeah. Well, I pray to God that this will somehow work out. I shouldn't even say it like that. Like this will somehow work out. I just have to maybe think about. Well, I can't say that. Maybe think about what happened last year. All that stuff I was typing and saying. I think it was a little bit different because I kept mixing in really because I didn't know if he was alive or not. So I was trying not to be mean. The last I knew it was baby, baby, baby and stuff. I don't have any of those messages anymore. It's a different phone. Yeah, because he might feel like I've crossed a line or something by doing that. I don't know. Well, that's why I'm hoping for a psych admit, and then he'll think about it. But you would think that, and it's probably healthy for them not to exactly think of this, but right, you would think that they should sort of go, ooh, yeah, I guess, not really. Yeah, not really. I wouldn't necessarily agree with that, but if maybe one time, I honestly, I think the only reason it happened is because we don't have our own housing. But like, it's something like there has to be a cooling off period if the person gets like that. Yeah, it just unfortunately happened on a cold night. And learning to grovel. And if you're not groveling, we know that you're still way up here, right? Because that first text in the morning was not, yeah, I'm calmed down now. But it's hard for Brian. I guess it's kind of like Bob Kent. Like, he is just never wrong about anything. He knows a wicked lot of stuff, though. He is right about some things, and some things I'm right about. Well, so far, I think I'm better at psychology, but like all this gadgets and stuff on televisions and watches and stuff, I don't know any of that. The phones, he knows all that stuff. I didn't know anything about this PayPal and stuff. Say that you get your own PayPal, they'll send you a card. Right, you actually have one. You don't have to tap it into your bank account. And then you do these weird surveys, but it takes you a long time to be doing them. That's like hours and hours and hours a day. But I guess if you were trying to stop using and just sit, maybe that's why Brian started doing it. I don't know if you remember him from 2023. He never stopped moving around. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this was nice. I hope he doesn't think this was bad. We'll see. He would say that's obnoxious, probably. Yeah, he would probably say that's obnoxious. Some of it might be that he's not speaking every thought in his head. And then when he's texting like that, you go, okay. Does he feel like he's getting more stifled that he can't speak his mind? I don't want him to have that happening. Yeah, and I definitely don't want that. I'm not like a wicked controlling person, no. Are you kidding me? I got one here because she's a different personality than me, and I've always been like a homemaker, and she always worked. So, yeah, it's difficult sometimes for other women to accept what you want for yourself and what works in you as a dynamic in your marriage, like a dude ordering you around and stuff. Like, it's not like that sort of like obvious, but do you want something to eat, babe? I think she was doing that for her life partner too, though. So, yeah, maybe her children would laugh at that she had anything to say about it. I'm pretty sure now that I think about it, she was like that with him. Right, so 17 years they were together. Yep. She seems to be doing better. Yeah, she seems to be doing pretty well. We're both kind of like blah today. All right, both of the watches look exactly the same to me. I was a little bit bummed out. Yeah, I opened both of them. I tried to nail you down for Friday, and then I don't know what the heck happened. I don't know. On Twitter, I got a response from Quincy Emergency Services, and it says Quincy, Mass. So I know my PTSD is so bad. Like, I'm like, I really hope that's them and not hackers. Yeah. It's just like I told you, like, I saw some videos of people that are in Bridgewater State Hospital now because of it. When I took Brian to court, I just started crying. Like, oh my God, these people some of the stuff is not necessarily insane, but yeah, like you just go, these people have been driven mad by what's happened to the country. So hopefully they're feeling better if someone tells them that we're being nuked. That should help. Did anyone explain to that guy that the laws have to be enforced? Okay. He said something about he's not in his jurisdiction or something. It's like the laws have to be enforced. Everybody knows what you're talking about. Clearly, some people's complete constitutional rights have been shattered. It's a holocaust, like crimes against humanity. Everyone knows, so don't worry about that. Just thermonuclear weapons, so don't worry about that. The judge knows they're doing what they were told to do, and it's just like they did in Germany. If you haven't looked that up yet, Brian. I felt like God told me to look it up. So, I guess they were using a lot of methamphetamine during that time. Okay. And that's when you start to all of a sudden you start going, wait a minute, Nazi Germany, why'd they bomb Japan with the atomic bomb? Right, why did they? Wait a minute, Florida, Milton, that's in Massachusetts. I think it means Milliton in my world. Have you seen the weather? I know you go, Brian, what are you doing? Yeah, I know in the text message, I was like, because I'm so used to it. And I sent him, my niece took a picture of it and sent it to Candy, and then Candy sent it to me. So I don't even know if he got it. But we were text messaging at the time, but he didn't answer anything back. And I just said, I would have liked to have seen this. I would have liked for us to be together to see this. And then I sent him a video explaining how thermonuclear weapons make that electromagnetic field that they were talking about all over the news. Could you imagine if he saw it and ran around telling people how insane I was, and they go, dude, you need to get yourself back in front of a TV. Like, why are you not with your wife during this time? Like, seriously, don't you think this is a time where you should be like with your wife and you two can spend time together? What the hell is this? He'll probably blame it on me, and you go, okay, but now it's been this long. Are you gonna let it go now? She said she was gonna go out there Friday, and you didn't return her text message or her phone calls. Maybe I could see that where he's probably like, why didn't she just drive here though? Like, she would never think my phone died or something happened to the phones. I guess, why don't you just take a train? I don't know. I guess that might be a little bit scary, I guess, to her. I know the whole situation is, did he literally lose his phone? Yeah, steal somebody else's phone. Ask the cops to call me. Or ask them. I doubt they would let you use their phone. But you could ask the cops to call me. Yeah, and they could go, we're giving you a courtesy call because he doesn't have a phone. Not some friend of yours, and then I end up with their phone number. Nope. Nope. I don't want people to have my telephone number for a reason, because then I'll have theirs, and then you'll ask me for it in the next episode. I told you when we got kicked out of it, that's why we went right on the train to Dedham. He doesn't even, I don't want to be mean to them, but you're not his friends. Like, everybody around here just goes, they're not his friends. Because he's been here for an entire month. Hello? Right. He purposely didn't use that other Facebook for a reason. He purposely hasn't called you and texted you. Okay, so I don't know. I would hope that amount of time. Some of these people are so, but Brian, they would actually believe Brian. He shows up there for like the 10th time talking about how psycho Mary is. Some of them weren't around in 2023, did the same thing. Like, he did the same thing where I had to go rescue him because some dude kept pouring alcohol down his throat, and I'm pretty sure he was giving him crack cocaine. This wicked, disgusting dude who like had no friends, and he had housing, but he couldn't stay in it when he was using. Right, just that's the one that we were calling Greg Ryan, because he was telling me a different name than he told the cops. People sort of like that, sort of unfortunate, but he got all pissed off at me. It was like, I could see my brother Tommy being like that if he ever ended up in Quincy Center. But Brian and I that's my boyfriend. And I walked over from my back and we're walking, right? And Brian, and we're talking. I go, oh, it was the other day. And, all lovey stuff, right? And then I was like, well, it wasn't as nice as yesterday. And the guy completely flipped out because I said that. I don't even know why you're walking with us. I'm not here at the nighttime. I have to walk to Hyde Park so I can lay down and cook food. Just weird. Yeah, that Sean guy, the same thing. That's why you can't have any friends and you'll never have a girlfriend. So somebody's got to tell you. Most people are like that with just their woman, never mind their wife. You go, he's off the whatever it was he was. He's off his meds or he's using, and he's off his meds. Right. It's like, this is the dude's wife. You people have to stop it now. Like that Ryan guy. Brian handed me the phone. At that point, you don't get it? Did I hack into his phone? Did I steal my own phone? Did I hack into his phone? That's how they were talking to me in 2023. Your wife is typing mad stuff all over Facebook. And Brian goes, don't answer him. Because maybe Brian wasn't talking to him for a long time, or he knows that the guy's sick and then he starts doing it. Yeah, he goes, don't answer it. He probably knows I'll be like, I go, really, dude? Oh yeah, like you have a girlfriend where you send your friend a message like that? Obviously he has to do it. Because if I ever found out he read something like that and he didn't tell me, of course he has to show it to me. And I just go, oh my God, this guy is that sick still? The guy from Gavin. I know you go, dude, I hate to break it to you, but you're mentally insane. Right. I think he knows his wife's typing mad shit on Facebook. Claims to be someone who's for the people and for democracy, yet every chance he gets, he acts like an authoritarian. Then I go to voters who have family members. I don't know, man, but thank you, Brian, for doing that because he never did that before. Last year, someone, I should say, banned me all over. I was in his Facebook. I tried to explain it. I don't know if he admitted it to people or not by now. He probably doesn't care because I'm sorry he doesn't talk to you guys. But it doesn't mean he's an asshole. It's just, if you guys ever sobered up and had like people in your life that were like, quote unquote normal, you wouldn't talk to yourself, right? You know how it goes. Well, sometimes you get a person like the guy from Foxborough or the Greg Ryan, probably people like Tommy, because they don't have that in their lives and they like don't know how to socialize, so they'd get wicked hurt. Yeah, but other people, they're just doing that because their family, because they did a Brian. Yeah, he's probably out there. You would hope he's admitting it to some people, right? Like, and they probably just look at him like, oh my God, you're gonna fuck this up for yourself. Don't fuck this up for yourself, dude. Like, you look fantastic. You got 2 months. You don't want to go out with someone else. You know all the garbage they say. Dude, you're in Quincy Center and you were way out there. I hope he didn't tell anybody where we were, by the way. You could put people at risk by doing that. He has a lot of unseemly friends. You were way out there and you came back here? Dude, you got to get out of here. Yeah, that's what, and there's probably people that use that would tell him that. So I mean, now we're married and you can see that it's nothing but good for him. So you have to ignore the stuff coming out of his mouth. Colleen told me that she wasn't going to listen. It'll be a test for her, I guess, see if she's full of shit or not. I'm not saying she's doing this, but this is a pitfall she might have because because if him and I can savage our marriage, what does that say about what happened with her? So hopefully she's finished grieving that and she doesn't think like that. Everybody's different. I think both her and her husband both use, don't they? For some reason, I was thinking her husband didn't. I'm sorry, her ex-husband. But yeah, just don't start talking about stuff like just because something with you. Yeah, just please. Maybe it's different when the female's the one who goes flipping out. Definitely not. Absolutely, definitely not. I know. I just thought of that, but they did divorce. Yeah, that's the one thing I remember about them is they were constantly fighting. No, Brian and I don't do that. I got to tell you this too. My sister had no idea that every once in a while Brian and I had a little tiny. I don't even know if it's a fight. She didn't even know. My hand to God, she didn't even know, so it's not even noticeable. Like I told her, I was like, all of a sudden he just said this, and she's like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "Yeah." I don't. He doesn't think too much of it, but when you're his wife, you go, "What did you just?" It's almost like he has Tourette's syndrome. No, I kind of do know what's causing that. Yeah, I kind of do know what's causing that. That's why I'm so irate. He needs like way more than once a month therapy. He told me he's been through all that. I don't know unless he said he knows what cognitive behavioral therapy is. Maybe that's what he said, and not even through it. You're in it right now. You're in it right now. Obviously, I'm way more happier with Brian, but I still don't know what's going to happen because, and then when I start thinking about it, I get more and more depressed and down because it's so much time has gone by. Yeah, it's hard. I don't know how many live streams he was doing or if they were talking about me like I was psycho. I don't know. I just know when we got back together, he admitted to me that his aunt told him. So he was talking to her up until the point where she had her open heart surgery. I mentioned this too. I guess it could be because of the open heart surgery. I don't know how long it takes to heal. Yeah, you just go, it seems kind of weird if all of a sudden she'd start talking to him again because of this. Yeah, like that's why I said, I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. Obviously, I don't know. But if that were to happen, you have to realize that's creepy and weird. Sometimes people do stuff unconsciously. I already know. He told me he grabbed her ass at some party and the whole family was mortified. So yeah, don't. If you didn't talk to him all the time, don't start talking to him because you think we're broken up because that's a warning sign. That seems gross. Like you were punishing him like an abuser would because he got married. Fresh and clean. With that done, it's time to get to work. Have you tried these Febreze car vent clips? Lean down gives you total control. I can check it out. That's nice. Or turn down. Nice and light. Enjoy 40 days of freshness your way. Mr. Clean Magic Eraser. Wow, where has this been my entire life? Having to clean with multiple products is a hassle. Trying to figure out, okay, what am I going to use on the shower? What am I going to use on the bathtub? I don't have to think about that. With Magic Eraser, I use it on everyday messes. I even use it on things that I think are impossible to clean. Just add water, and then I'm good to go. I can go from the countertop, the stove, to the microwave, and just use one Magic Eraser. If you are a mom, you need Mr. Clean Magic Eraser in your life. It gets the job done. It's the last weekend of the sale during Mainly Tub's biggest sale of the year, the huge annual Ferris Fair sale. Take advantage of thousands in savings on saltwater hot tubs, swim spas, and saunas. Free saltwater system upgrades. Plus, for this event only, we're bringing back 0% APR for 60 months financing, with hot tubs starting at $59 per month and saunas from $53 per month. The huge annual Ferris Fair sale going on now through October 14th at Mainly Tub's 7 New England showrooms, and for the final weekend at the Topsfield Fair. The difference between good and great is often in the details. Technology that doesn't just connect,
but inspires. The Lexus ES. Every detail centered around you. The free CBS News app.
We spoke late last week with a group of voters from all 7 battleground states to discuss the election, their outlook for America's future, and more. How many of you voters are going to cast your ballots for Donald Trump? Mary, you raised your hand. You are in the very important state of Arizona. What's driving your decision?
Well, my decision is I live right on the border in Arizona, and I know in the last 3.5 years we have had just horrible problems in Yuma with a lot of illegal immigration coming through. Our economy is awful. Yuma's unemployment is 16%, so the economy is a big factor as well. Just a combination of things. Our groceries have gone up. Just everything has just really gone downhill in the last 3.5 years for us in Yuma and in Arizona completely.
Cole, you are in Georgia, also a very key state. Why do you plan to vote for Donald Trump?
For me, I do not look necessarily at a candidate specifically, but just the broader party and the direction they're hoping to take America. For me, some of the top 3 issues would definitely be our economy, immigration, and then I would also say, as we've come out of the pandemic, just seeing how the 2 different political parties handled the pandemic, I think Kamala Harris and the Democrats are a little bit extreme on the issue of abortion. I do not support the idea of allowing abortion, and certainly not with no restrictions. I would prefer candidates who are more aligned with my pro-life position.
Mike, you're in Nevada. You said you will be voting for Donald Trump, but he makes it hard. He makes it hard for you to feel good about that vote. Can you explain what you mean?
You know, there's parts of Donald Trump which I admire, and parts of Donald Trump which I cringe, for lack of a better term. And, you know, in the debate when he said, you know, they just asked him, January 6th, would you change anything? I think he had an opportunity there to step up as a leader and take some ownership. People went to jail. I think that would have showed a lot of courage for him to do that. So I like things on the economy, tightening up inflation. Yes, and yes. You know, I think those are the primary issues in this election. You know, as you get into the periphery and just how, you know, he conducts himself sometimes, it's hard to put a Trump sign in the front yard based on some of his behaviors.
But you're still doing it. Why?
Well, because I'm a fan of the economy and a fan of success, right? I think there's been no driver in the driver's seat in our economy for the last 3.5 years. And I think we've suffered mightily for it. That drives a lot for me. I don't have to like people personally. I don't have to agree with some of the stuff they do, but I have to, kind of go for the greater good.
Christopher, you are in North Carolina. How are people doing there amidst the fallout from this storm, and makes you an enthusiastic Republican right now?
I've always been an enthusiastic Republican since I voted for Ronald Reagan in 1980. I've been fortunate enough to be part of Trump's ground campaign in 2016. And I met some very amazing people. I really, really like the maturation process that he's gone through. He got his feet wet in 2016. He learned the hard way. He got tagged a few times. He stepped in it a lot. It's easy to look in the rearview mirror and say could have, should have, and would. But when you're in the moment, you make the best decisions you can. I trust him to do that. I trust him to make a decision.
But do you, Christopher, ever feel uncomfortable, like Mike said he did, with things that Donald Trump says?
At sometimes I have, but in this day and age, with what we're being faced with, on the global stage, and the not so nice characters that will look for a weak spot in the United States of America to bring it to her knees. I'd rather have in the ocean full of bloody water sharks, great white sharks, I'd rather have an orchid in there than Flipper protecting me. And I know Donald Trump will get in there and he will fight for us. He may not say what we want to hear, but he will execute on our behalf. And it's obvious. The man's nearly died. He took a bullet for us. He got back up again. And you cannot dismiss that. And his instinct was to say, fight. So that right there tells me this man doesn't have to be there.
How many of you are planning to vote for Vice President Harris in November? I want to dive into exactly why that is. Linda, and then Kathy, why are you supporting Vice President Harris for president?
I first voted for Reagan in '80 as well, and all of my voting years, I was told character counts. And as I look at Donald Trump, I either have to say character counts and not vote for him, or say it doesn't count anymore. I did vote for him in 2016. I voted for Joe Biden in 2020, and I will vote for Kamala Harris this year.
That's interesting that you voted for Trump, then Biden, now you're going to vote for Harris. These are very different people. What is driving your decision now?
I have listened to Kamala Harris and the things she has to say. I truly believe she cares about people. I think her life shows she cares about people. And she truly wants to work to make our day in and day out lives better now. And I care about now, but I have grandchildren and I care about what kind of a world we're going to give them to build on as they become people to vote in the next few years. And again, I go back to character counts, and Donald Trump is a proven liar. He has said and done too many things that I think should be disqualifying, from January 6th to those poor people in Springfield, Ohio. They must just be terrified.
Kathy, you're in Pennsylvania. Why are you voting for Vice President Harris?
I hear and see the fears that people have in just contemplating another 4 years with Donald Trump. I don't have anything that I can think of that I would say I agree with him on. And I, like Linda, would say, to me, character counts. So Donald Trump is a no for me.
What about you, Mauricio? You are joining us from Wisconsin.
January 6th to me is beyond unacceptable. That's sacred territory that was stormed. He riled up that. It was not a protest. That was an insurrection. The plans were to overthrow a legitimate election. That will never be tolerated in my viewpoint.
Do you believe that Vice President Harris, if she is elected president, that she will be very different from Joe Biden? Or do you see her continuing the issues and agenda that he has pursued for the past 4 years?
I'm sure she's probably a little bit more liberal, but she would accept the results if she lost. And that's a big thing.
Linda, back to the original question I asked Mauricio as well. As a Harris supporter, do you believe that the Vice President will continue Joe
I did
Biden's
a
policies,
sweep
or do you think he has a different vision?
so out of it.
I think she will do some of the things President Biden has done. And some of the things Biden has done has helped our country quite a bit. I would like to hear more specifics of what she plans to do, but I would rather see someone want to give tax breaks to the middle class than the most wealthy people in our country.
Oh, I didn't finish this one.
I just wanted to follow up on this idea of how future President Harris might or may not be different than President Biden. And I'll be honest with you, I do not envy Kamala Harris because she has to defend President Biden, and she also has to kind of thread the needle of following his policies, maybe making some of her own. But listen, there have been some failures in this administration, and I think whether you're on the left or the right, you can hopefully see that. And for me, some of those things off the top of my head were we did not have a good withdrawal from Afghanistan. Prices are through the roof for consumers, and we can debate how we got at that. But at the end of the day, inflation is out of control, and there's been a record number of illegal border crossings under the Biden administration. And so I understand that she has to appeal to the base, and she doesn't want to alienate any Biden voters. But it's very
I gotta try to get some sleep tonight. I'm starting to feel crappy.
she would have done differently than President Biden.
Show of hands, who is concerned about?
Oh my God. Somebody remembers that healthcare video. That was like that would have worked for the transition plan, I'm sure.
Mary, you're not raising your hand. You live in a state where abortion access is currently permitted up to 15 weeks.
I'm gonna have to go up to Stop and Shop at some point. This is the rest of my soda.
Even though abortion will be on the ballot in Arizona?
The way I feel is that I'm more concerned about women's health. And I think that we need to concentrate on prevention.
I don't know. I should probably go for a walk. Oh, I got my lawyer tomorrow, and I need to do laundry, but I probably could still take a walk.
I'm a mother
I
and a
gotta get back into my
grandmother,
thing. Oh my God.
that's what it should be.
I'm planning on doing that all winter long in Florida.
Now, of course, just like
I'll
everyone
miss
else
the
has
snow.
said,
Maybe you guys won't get any again. We got none last year.
problems
Because the snow is real. I love walking in the snow, and it's good after you quit smoking because it rebuilds your cardiac output. But it does not snow in Florida. I lived there for 17 years. Love Florida because I had a pool too. I didn't live on the beach, but I would have liked to. I love swimming. Absolutely love swimming. I wanted a swimming pool my entire life.
The federal level, and the reason why it was brought back
Love swimming.
to the states is that different states have different feelings. California is much more liberal than Arizona or Texas or Oklahoma or Georgia or other areas.
But yeah, that healthcare video was, I watched it myself a couple times, and then like most of them it disappeared.
Kansas has become more liberal
But
than they used to be. And
unfortunately, as you can see, it didn't work out because people didn't listen to the transition plan. It's not that you don't have doctors, but they don't want to work. Right? And I explained that if they're doing something that God doesn't want, that they're going to have cognitive decline, so they can't do it anymore. But I believe that your food people they'll maintain it the longest because they got to keep the food supply going. And like all those essential workers.
On a bench or in a boardroom or wherever.
Unfortunately, healthcare is not going to be one of them. It's palliative care.
To be able to or not to be able to control their own body. And it's not realistic to believe if you like this liberal law better,
Is that part of the insanity?
everyone can just move where they want to. Those things just aren't realistic.
You can see the extended interview on our YouTube
I
page.
kind of doubt it, but it is kind of like a funny coincidence. If people ask, and sometimes it's just interesting. I used to have someone that called me on the phone from California. I'm pretty sure it was that Gainesville person from Aaron Carter and go, Mary Ken schizophrenia. Some people would love Mary Ken schizophrenia to be reality Brian Buchanan. I do. I am kind of still contending that. That was part of my rage outburst last night. Well, believe it or not, psychopaths and resistant Christians, I understand it. It's because you won't accept God's love. Yeah, you won't accept love. You won't accept God's love when you get like that. it's almost like you're regressing to an infantile stage, if you would ask me, with the screaming and screaming until you get the cuddling and the nursing with the bonding. All that is stuff that he's going to work back into. But I don't want to talk too much about his personal life. I mean, with my therapist, with him in a meet group or something, I think what I said was probably like adequate. But I mean, that's what I was talking about before I went outside. You go, thank you for posting that. That's why I said thank you for posting there, because we had a big issue last year. I don't know if that's him that types, like they're other characters, or they're actual friends of his that clearly didn't know who they were typing at, or they do and they're psychopaths or something. So.
That led it to you. When they said I do. When they became heroes. How they ruled the school.
That's what I said about Jamie Fitzsimmons. That was the worst offender, like everywhere. YouTube. I thought it was an internet person. I'm like, this isn't even a person. It's a spy using that person. That probably be seen insane. I understand that. You didn't know. And I told Brian about the laptop, because now I did like photographs of it with my phone. That's clearly an internet prison, where screens are used and I can't see people's comments and stuff, and they can comment to me and you can't see it. I would love for all of that to be gone, especially during this time, but they just keep thinking that they're protecting somebody when it's probably their own reality. Right, because if you're blocking me, you're not helping me find my husband, Brian Buchanan. We went through this last year. No Brian Buchanan, no God. I just have all my personal reasons for that. Yeah, I mean, when you say that you don't, maybe he was just in a wicked bad mood that day. I'll chalk it up to that. He was in a wicked bad mood that day, and don't take everything he says to. When he said he didn't have like a faith, or he didn't care, like what happens when you die, he doesn't care. Yeah, he must have been all locked up that day.
At a checkpoint outside of a campaign rally for former President Trump in Coachella, California. The authorities say the 49-year-old man was illegally in possession of a shotgun, a loaded handgun.
He said he was bored when he was out walking around. I'm bored and I got nothing to do. I know he didn't seem like he was bored here, but we clearly, would like to do things eventually. We keep on talking about it. There's always like a hindrance about money. So we'll do more things in Florida. Hopefully he'll be there with me. He's never been to Florida. He's never been to Magic Kingdom. So I thought that was cool. And the reason why I think it's cool is the first year we were together, I wanted to take him there for his birthday. Even though I had like hardly any money, I contemplated it. I think that would be really good for Brian to do. Some sunshine all winter long, go to some of the theme parks, stuff he's not done before. The beach, it's Florida, it's nice. It's vacation land.
And notably, it comes just hours after
they have buses. It's called Lynx, and they have a train.
System here to Israel. THAAD stands for Terminal High Altitude Area.
If we had money, if I was getting my Social Security with the retro, we could just stay in a hotel there. They have a campground, actually. That's probably what we should do. Even if he wanted to rent a trailer on a Disney park, I think they have more than one campground that belongs to Disney. You want to go Disney if you can afford it. Candy used to do it. You can just go right online. Like if we had Social Security and we went and you just book the whole thing, and it's a card. Everything is a card, and you just go shoot. And some of the packages come with meals and stuff too. I never did that because I lived in Florida, but there's probably people that live there that do it for a vacation. I think someone in his family has gone to one of the campgrounds a couple times. It's so cool, the whole system, because they have buses, trams, they have boats that transport you around. It's cool. I would never recommend to do a park hopper when you go to Magic Kingdom because you're not going to have time in the day and you have to pay more. Just do one park at a time, unless you like can only afford one ticket. Is it all the parks, or they go one park, two park? Don't try to do more than two, especially if it's busy, because in a day, if it's busy time, you're not going to go on all the rides because there's so many people. The winter time is a good time to go, but not Christmas. Christmas is the worst time to go. Christmas and 4th of July. Don't go in Christmas, 4th of July because it's awesome at Christmas time, but don't do it. I used to work there, worked at Magic Kingdom. But we used to pay for annual passes. But when you work there, you get free passes for everybody in your family. They had to approve mine because I have so many children. We had to have 8 passes. They had to make sure that I actually had 8 children. Because they're like, what do you need 8 passes for? Hell yeah. You, even if you work part-time, you get free passes. You don't get free food, but you get free passes. I know, could you imagine $120 a day and you get free passes and you're making $7.55 an hour? It's probably a little bit more now. You do it. I was doing it just to be able to get the passes. I was working there and I was working at a dental office. I was working 7 days a week and I'd work at Magic Kingdom till like 4:45 in the morning. I did it briefly when I was trying to get a divorce. In between what was going on with me, I was under a wicked lot of stress then too. It was like basically what happened to Mary Kennedy, but I wasn't suicidal, but wicked, dirty divorce tactics. Just horrible that a person would do that to me and his children because they were in the house with me. And then he wanted to file bankruptcy and he put his house in the bankruptcy. Like he essentially would have made his own children homeless just to spite me. So it's difficult when people get like that. I would say, yeah, especially when you have your own girlfriend and you live together and you're supposed to be in love. It shouldn't be the focus of your relationship. Any divorce, alimony or not, it clearly went way beyond worrying about money for child support and a house and alimony. It's very sad for them because when that's done, then what do you have? You need to have a relationship based on like of each other and love. Yeah. Brian and I don't really talk negatively about other people. Yeah. Sometimes now I'm wondering when he says that if it's like his own mind, like he had a negative thought and it's just like talking out loud or something. Maybe he wants me to be more happy and stuff like in the videos and everything. I got a lot going on. Well, plus I wasn't live streaming. I know I was kind of excited. I never got to live stream with us back together. It's just a fly in the wall of people watching the thing going, what the hell? This is that guy that just abandoned her and then left her like that and she didn't know if he was alive or dead. Yeah, now we're married and now here we are again. But this is like, you know, possibly a mental health issue. So, right, that's what we're going to find out. I mean, if you asked me, it's a mental health issue anyways, but it's just a matter of what his motivations are and what he wants to do. Yeah, one of the texts at the end, he goes, are you inviting me back? And then it was like, I don't know if he continued to freak out or everything went to quiet. I don't think I can do that. Right. And you can't put the pressure on a person if he's in a state where he knows he needs to stay away, like a mental state. If he's in a mental state where he knows he needs to stay away, then you can't put a pressure on a person. But obviously, in the future, everything will be handled differently, and hopefully we won't be in this situation again. Well, I know now, too, because I already explained it to Managed Health a bunch of times. I have to have a diagnosis in my hands, and I want the diagnosis discussed with the two of us, with his mental health team, with the two of us together, so I can hear it, he can hear it, and then I have it in my hand. Yeah, it just depends on what it is.
paying premiums, homeowners are being misled by their insurance carriers.
This is boring.
Whistleblowers.
Figure out what I'm gonna eat. I ate basically a whole loaf of bread with almond butter. Everything's been terrible.
To deceive customers. As Hurricane Ian slammed into Florida,
Obviously, everything would be terrible, but would I be happy with my husband died? The love of my life? Of course I would. Everything would be terrible.
the porch of his home, about 40 miles south of Sarasota.
You don't want someone to be dead, but obviously it's different than your life partner dying. It would be different too if there still wasn't this thing hanging up in the air if he's coming back or not. Well, I mean, coming back to me or not.
And my prediction is in 20 years, it's a Nigerian school.
He knew the entire time that I was planning on leaving here on Thursday. So it just sucks that this all happened on Tuesday night, and then there's that big thing in the sky. We're not even together for it. But it is what it is. God does what he does. I think it's interesting that his name's Brian. Look, ma, no brain. See ya, number 2.
One of the central activities of the American establishment.
Yeah, I mean, if it was something where he's like, I don't know what the hell just happened, or his medication's all messed up and I don't know what happened, and then he calms down, it's like, can you see the humor in that though? Right. Sometimes you have to be careful. It depends on people's personalities if he's able to laugh at himself or not. I think Jen has a difficulty laughing at herself about her mental illness.
Quite Machiavellian in what they're
Just putting that out there.
We have a lot of young Americans right now who are dying of fentanyl overdoses. Fentanyl was brought into our
Okay.
communities.
Well, because they probably have cancer.
Harris's open border. Don't we want to raise our children as moms and dads?
Apparently they will. I'm not saying I'm against it. I'm just saying apparently they want to keep talking about how the key, like, because you people won't house us. Okay. Well, in the Passover, I'm pretty sure we're told in the Holy Bible that there's blood on the houses, and if you look at DNA structure, not just that spinny thing, but the structure, some of them look like houses. They look like octagons and stuff, and some of them look like, I think it's a hexagon, isn't it? Really tired. That looks like a house. There's something obviously within the DNA where a certain species is going to survive, like basically a nuclear holocaust. But I also think there's something in the genetics that people are programmed to go into an extinction. This stuff helps with you control it, and it's compassionate. It could be something where the brains are dying and the nuclear weapons are actually doing the lungs, so that we don't have people that don't have any brains in their heads, but their bodies are still moving around because they die from starvation. Talk about screaming. Remember, I went through that with Tommy and Barbara, and they kept screaming about the mail. I think you need to eat. I went to the post office. What was the day? It must have been Thursday when the watches came, and I took a picture of them and sent them to Brian. He goes, "Yup, more of my shit." Like, he's still. So that was what, Thursday? I think it was Thursday. It's in the phone. Earlier in the day. And then I asked if he got one for me and one for him, and he said, yeah. And you go, all right, well, you need to calm down and figure out what we're going to do about where we're going to meet up and continue on in our married life and what's going on. If you went to a checkup, did you go to Man at Health? What did they say? Did you discuss with them about the marijuana use? I think some of these things need to be discussed before he gets paid again. Because some things seem like they're psycho. So that's a good thing too. Is if it's not, I'm not trying to do like emotional blackmail for him to contact me, but I also have to do what I can to protect him. Okay, so if he doesn't want that money shut off, okay, he needs to contact his wife. Okay. Because if you have not had a conversation with your wife beyond all this stuff that could be deemed mentally confused, yeah, it would make sense because you're vulnerable, and then you're going to use that money for what? Okay, that she could go call Allison at the DTA office and explain it to her. Right, because that could even cause him to go into the DTA office to try to get another card, find out what's going on and why he didn't get paid. Okay. I don't know if they can do it for that, but as he knows, warrants can be issued, so they could just issue a warrant to shut it off. In case he doesn't know that. They could deny his Social Security like that, and it shuts off, and he's never going to get another payment. Like, because if the mind, not Brian, but if that disease mind is thinking that stuff, or his friends are around him, you don't want to front money because he may not even be getting paid. Again, he has the DTA Connect on his phone, but it doesn't mean that that's actually going to go on there. Okay, so that's all. That's at least two ways they can do it. Even if it's not real, as Brian knows, they did one of those and he called them. So they could make up a warrant and then he's got to sort it out, or deny his Social Security. And he, oh no, I don't know what's his address when he applied. Is it the shelter? He's never going to get it. That was one thing we were going to do, is we were going to go to Norwood and change the mailing address so he could get something from Social Security. I don't know if he can't be familiar with the process. All he did was the initial application to get the DTA cash, and then they mail him some stuff that he has to submit to, or they shut it off. I'm out of it now. I finally got free of that because I'm in the reconsideration and appeal, and my lawyer did it. So if he gets the money shut off, then he knows he got denied. Right, it's either probably a warrant or that, and then he can try to get an attorney. But this is the thing: is hopefully he's maintained his sobriety, and don't bother lying. It's not worth it. But I was told by Morgan that they won't take people that haven't been sober for at least 60 days, and that should make sense because you'll just use the money to kill yourselves. Never be forgiven. What they've done to us and what they've done to us on the border can never be forgiven. Talk about fun stuff. We got Columbus Day tomorrow. Halloween's coming up. Thanksgiving's coming. Christmas. Oh yeah, I won't even be here for all the holidays. Crap, oh, they love Christmas in Florida, man. From Venezuela, from the Congo. I haven't heard anything from Jerry. Yeah, obviously I text him because I know he knows who Brian is and I have his phone number. If I had 10 people's phone number out there, I'd text them. I'd text 10 people. Brian. He went out there and found Donnie, but you couldn't find Jerry. I don't even know if he's hanging around with Donnie, or he said that he talked to him. Maybe that was why he called me. Donnie might have said, you need to call her because, right, he called me, all right, and you need to call an ambulance or call the police. You don't have an agreement with him not to call the police, right? Okay. That's a vicious gang. Oh, we have them all. We have them all. They're all represented now. MS-13, vicious. They're all vicious. Well, the contest. It's a person he knows, right? To some degree, it's like a protector, but he probably fronts some booze. He went around saying, no, the migrants that come in are very nice people. No, they're not that good. No, we're not getting the nice ones. We're getting people that Donald Trump has a speech. What am I gonna eat tonight? There's so much food here because it was a memorial service on Thursday. That my sister, I'm gonna say it over and over again, that my sister actually set back the time so that she'd be able to take Brian to his eye appointment, because we discussed all the appointments with her, what we were gonna need to for rides, and that's why we have telehealth appointments.
Do it, right? Do it. Woodrow, do it. You know, I listened to her saying all the time, we couldn't get a bill passed. I never had a bill. You know what I did? I called
All
them
that
up.
stuff
I said,
is here.
close the border. There was no bill. Can I have a bill? Right? I said, close the border. And the border was closed. And then we had.
Today's Sunday. I would have been gone on Thursday anyway.
Of our country, the border. And that included, by the way, drugs. And it included traffickers, women, mostly they deal in women. Let me see the chart. My all-time favorite chart.
I would say, obviously, if that didn't happen, we'd probably both still be sitting here. To some degree, I can't keep doing that, but to some degree, it's probably my fault too, because had I just changed my mind when she said, are you sure you want that? But then I already explained it out. I already forget it. God, that's probably God talking. Just leave it alone.
We ever had in the recorded history of our country. So, yeah, you sit down. Sit down. See, I got him to sit down, right?
Right, because I don't know what's going on. That's what somebody else would have to explain to me. If he has, like, when he has a flip out like that, if it lasts for a couple of days, that I don't know. I know that the time that this happened at the shelter, it wasn't anything I did. That I absolutely do know. It had something to do with pot, right? Yeah, that was when I wouldn't buy him pot. And oh my God, remember when we went to the church? Yeah, he's nothing like that now because he's been getting his pot. Yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to use medical marijuana. He's got to, if they think he needs something else, they got to give him something else and tell him to keep taking his walks. And then he's probably going to yell out like that and just to hold the phone. Well, if he gets uncomfortable, then, right. Yeah, I would never suggest he stop taking everything and just walk. Right, but if he starts walking, the doctors might discover that he, like half of that shit he doesn't even need. Especially if he's had undiagnosed, I don't know what they give people for mania, manic depressive disorder. Right, but you have to be really careful about caffeine, nicotine, any stimulant. You can't be on Adderall. Yeah, like if it could be the Adderall causing that because he over medicates himself with it too. Right, so you go. Did have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You can't have energy drinks, decaf coffee, decaf soda. You eventually think about what the smoking because it has a stimulant in it. There's a whole thing for mania. And like breakfast is vitally important. I was probably getting real lax with the breakfast. That I will say I wasn't keeping up with. But yeah, see, we're together and they go, that's the diagnosis. It's bipolar manic depressive disorder. Then clearly every single morning he's going to have breakfast cooked and served.
But he had 300 plus. The biggest people in government, even from other administrations, they said Trump's the greatest president.
I told the therapist, I'll say it 1,000,001 times. As soon as that letter came from housing, yep, we both just sort of like tweaked. Just like, oh God, because I do remember that the ensuing days, because we had probably calmed down, and it was like as soon as I got the lawyer for the Social Security, I started crying that I was never going to have to deal with that again. Because you hope they're going to win if they take your case. They screen you for it. And then it seemed like the DTA stuff was all settled, so that was good. And just recently I got a lawyer for the Florida thing, and then you just go, probably his point of view was like, everything was just calming down. What the fuck is wrong with her?
There's a certain level of a country when they do that. I really made it. And Robert, I want to thank you and Rick Grinnell and all the people because that was beautiful.
Yeah, if he has mania, they'll explain it to him. Right? It's like clearly you were like cycling or something, and that's why it seemed like you were having problems because it has to do with your whole disposition and stuff.
make page one. This, 2, 3, 4. It never made the newspaper. But that's
I
the way
think I only
they
have
treat
like a
us.
chicken thigh.
And
You
we're
know,
leading in
I
the
didn't
polls.
prepare
How come
anything.
they're leading in the polls?
Well, that's right. There's like a million hot dogs, which I'm not really supposed to eat, but they're there. Probably should do that. Oh yeah, because we don't have hot dog rolls.
How does that work? But you know why? Because the people are very smart. I found out that people are very
I'm not
smart.
trying to force him to sleep outside. I'm worried about him. And if you were wondering why I said if you have him in your housing, this is why. Okay, it doesn't make any sense. He should have been contacting me, going and talking to me on the phone, telling me that someone's letting him stay there. And then, of course, I'd want to know who it is. Right. That's why. So you'll find out. That you had a husband and wife team completely lose their house after having Brian Buchanan there without me, and we were just engaged at the time. You'll find out. Because I explained it. At this point, he's either using or he's mentally ill and he needs treatment. It lacks sense, all of it. I don't care what you have to say. Someone might throw in, or you're harboring a criminal. They can just put out a warrant at any time they want. I'm sure all the time cops raid places and ask people if they have IDs and if they have any outstanding warrants. What's your name? What are you doing here? Well, I think it's interesting because I went on a tirade last year, and because it seemed like nobody was paying attention to me, right? But I found out. So if you're watching this and you remember last year, oh yeah, remember the woman I knew from the shelter? Yeah, she lost her house. She literally lost her house because of it. So that's definitely a lesson that should be learned by others. I think if I'm going to do hot dogs, I'll put cheese on it. It's like the worst thing I could possibly eat because of the nitrates. As soon as I eat, I'm going to pass right out because I didn't sleep at all last night. Because I haven't been sleeping that much, it hasn't been as bad just laying down where we typically lay. But like the pillowcases completely smell like him. So that was part of the reason when I figured to lay down for a couple of hours and I just couldn't do it. I just sat up like doing that screaming thing I was telling you about. I know some people would say that. I don't even want to know what Brian Buchanan smells like. It's just regular Brian Buchanan. He was showering just about every single day and changing his clothes. It's a mixed bag. Yeah, obviously it's to my benefit when he looks like that, and I like the long hair too. It's terrible too because he has an EBT card and it's going to be way easier for him to get money. It depends, or way more difficult. And he's going to go, what in the hell? That's the only reason, if that happened to you, that's the only reason they give it to you, because it's always dudes. That's the only reason they give it to you, because they're like, this guy. He's got nothing going on in his life.
That we are an occupied country, and you know what? They're not that wrong. But these gentlemen will unoccupy us very quickly. It's really no different than if we had a war, lost a war. But to everyone here in Arizona and all across the land, I make this pledge.
I wonder if he ever goes and reads some of the stuff later, because even when you're angry, sometimes you're like, oh God. Like, it's not like you completely forgot typing it, but you go, oh boy, I was pissed. But I met a person and she has mania, and that's one of the things she told me she'd do, that she would do, because I think she thought that she was like diagnosing me. That gone in the head. So anyways, Yeah, you can have a stroke in your head by taking Adderall when you have mania, because that's what happened to that chick. But anyways, and she like literally never slept. I'll say this. I mean, she said she would write stuff, and like she would totally not remember doing it. Right.
13,099 are murders, some of many murders, some scheduled.
I know this business about he's got his meds, now I need mine. That might be sort of something definitely have to talk about, because he was talking like that. Yeah, you're right, Z's. I don't even take Tylenol. I shouldn't even be smoking tobacco. I usually have a completely clean living. I have to maintain my liver, or I'm just going to pass on. I don't have time for all that crap. Cool Joe, bye. I don't have time for all that. With the getting gabbies and getting Adderall and taking your psych meds and drinking. I don't have, and even the smoking, I'm sure you'll live the rest process. I don't have time for that. Nope. Frank. Nick Ken, because he goes day, one after the other. And I'll do that for a couple of days and then stop.
They tried to get away with one. 3 months ago, they were getting killed in the polls. So Kamala, I don't use the name Harris. Nobody knows this. I say Harris. Everyone said, who the hell is Harris? I don't know what it is with that name, but it doesn't.
I was trying to get myself to calm down again, because I can tell that I'm starting to get upset again. By being like, you got through this last year, and you go, this isn't last year though. This is like completely different, because right, it's more upsetting. Like a married man doesn't just disappear for a year and come back. That's like fucking crazy. All of that shit should have been settled when we got married.
And that's what they are. They're bloodthirsty criminals. We'll put them in jail. We will get them out of our country.
So far, getting legally married hasn't stopped the bullshit in terms of the society.
In Texas
right.
Last year, an illegal alien released into the United States by Kamala was charged.
I think some people that, like I told you, they like to go, oh, well, nobody's happy. Don't think about stuff like that. If you're going through something, like say they locked your loved one up in jail or a psych ward or something, or you can't get housing together, because that's probably a common one. You're in a shelter and you have to sleep in separate dorms and shit. Oh yeah, like your pawn scum, and you got to sneak out in the woods to have marital relations. Yeah, just ugh. I've heard some gruesome, disgusting comments from people out in Quincy too. If you really, if a man really wants to get this woman, there's ways of doing it. No, that's not Brian saying that. Yeah, just.
And he was wearing a bulletproof vest. Isn't that nice? He had a bulletproof vest. And in Chicago this year, a Venezuelan illegal alien gang member who was set loose into the United States by the horrible non-border protection. It's a non-border. They let anybody come in that wanted to come in. I built hundreds of miles of wall. I then, by the way, built more than I ever promised, but it was working so well. That's why we had the good numbers. And then I was going to add 200 miles more. Then we had a rather strange election.
I wonder if these people still kind of don't at least wonder if thermonuclear weapons are being used. Everybody around here, it's so much more refreshing than Quincy. Everybody around here keeps talking about all the cognitive problems people are having. Not all these people are that old. I think you have to be like 62 to come in here under the senior thing.
Say, Joe, get your ass down to the Oval Office and sign this. Well, if he signed what he signed for them.
I was starting to get a little bit nervous because I realized my court is Thursday, so I better make sure I get some good, solid nights of sleep. Some people sometimes think everybody's on drugs or something. I don't know. It's like, no, my husband's fucking missing. Same shit as last year. Except even worse, because now he's my husband. And people still go, blah, blah, blah.
My father used to tell me, these guys that need letters, they'll come into
Who knows? Maybe he had no way. He didn't say that, though. He didn't say he had no way to contact me.
Sir, could I have a letter saying that you promoted me? Those guys never worked.
This is how he put it. He said that he thought that I was going to kill him, which he probably means like really pissed.
He always would say, anytime they wanted a letter of authorization, they never worked out. She didn't need anything. She didn't need a bill. All she had to do is have.
You don't just hide in Cambridge for a year, right? Maybe some of these dudes, they probably like do this all the time until you get to the point where you're not, because then they'll go, I don't want to keep talking about it. That's how it would be if he ends up in a psych ward, a psych hold, yeah. I mean, I think the police can do it for 3 days, but that's not a diagnosis. Yeah. He had already agreed to me regulating his medication. We talked about it because he knew he was forgetting stuff.
But I think the number one issue is the destruction of our country.
At least one occasion, he couldn't remember if he took his medication or not. And I go, that sucks, because then you have to wait the whole day to do it.
I don't care what a poll says. And it's close anyway, but I don't care what a poll says.
My body's starting to shut down, I think, in terms of sleeping. Not shut down.
Drug dealers, people from mental institutions.
I guess I'll shut this off for now.
Who would allow this to happen to our country?
Oh, yeah, I got that watch. Oh, Candy's got a magnifying glass. That's what it is. Because I was like, how am I going to do anything? I cannot see any of those directions at all.
Multiple times, leaving a riddled body all full of bullet holes behind. And I cannot believe how they allowed this to happen to our country. It's happening at levels that I could recite crimes all day, all night for weeks. And this is just the beginning.
It took a little while for the walking out to the bench to be like weird. Well, yeah, that's a concern too if he's forgetting stuff. How long people would purposely revel in us not talking to each other until the point he forgets me completely. It's almighty.
Anywhere in the world, and they come from all over. A huge number is coming out of jails in the Congo because
that's why, to some degree, it's better to have a faith in God. But I'm also told God last year, no Brian Buchanan, no God. I like put my foot down about it. Put my foot down about it. It's, you're almighty. No Brian Buchanan, no God, you're almighty. Like, why would I even meet this person if it's just going to be nothing but sorrow of this person that loved me and shit? Why would that happen? Into enough. Put up or shut up, yeah. I can understand some people being like that, but I think you should have a reason why, and not just so you can have a boyfriend. I'm kind of like a loner. To me, it has to do with God allowing a person to hurt me like that after everything I've had to like put up with. But this is the 14th year, and you go, really? This was needed?
Emptied out their jails and prisons of the toughest people anywhere in the world, and then dumped them into our country. And we're not going to take it. We're not going to take it. We're going to get rid of these people that allowed this to happen. We're going to get rid of Kamala.
All right, I'm going to take a nap because I don't have too much to say, and I probably can sleep. So
my message to the American people is very simple. No person